if you get a state trooper doing it, or a police officer, they've got a whole lot more experience in court. Not that they're familiar with this section, which again, that comes back to us as horse owners. I often, when I work with the police, I say, look, you know your job, okay? You know how to interview people, you know how to question people, but when it comes to horses, you don't know what questions to ask. I can tell you what questions to ask. Why does your horse look like this? How would you feed your horse? Who's your vet? And we get into, up on our website in the cruelty section, we have a whole, lays it out, how you investigate cruelty. And instead of me going through it here, you can go up there and read what you do. But we can, as horse owners, give law enforcement the questions. And it's really not rocket science. It's the same kind of management. Why does your horse look this way? What are you feeding it? And oftentimes, fortunately, when I've worked with the state police or local law enforcement, oftentimes we've gone out there and simply said to people, you need to get a vet out here and determine why your horse is in this condition. The next thing we do is the trooper calls the vet and says, listen, the reason your client is calling you is because this is a criminal investigation, and your role is to determine why your client's horse is in this condition and what your client needs to do to correct the situation. And if in 6 weeks' time this horse is not improved, we're all coming back and we're all going to go to court. Well, the vet doesn't want to go to court. Nobody wants to go to court. And most of the time, now the vet knows what their role is. Now they know what they're supposed to do. Okay, so most of the time, the situation will get corrected. Now, I was on a situation where the humane agent instructed the owner to get a vet. They got a vet. The vet came out and gave vaccinations. Went to court, and they said, I complied. I got the vet. He vaccinated my horse. So the other thing is, we talked about shelter, sanitary shelter. Okay, what's sanitary? That's kind of, when I tell people about documenting, when you're speaking about what's in the shelter, are we talking about, you'll say, oh, it's filthy. Well, what's filthy? I don't know, I got manure in my horse's shed. They were in there today. Okay? What's filthy? I'm asking, what's your definition of filthy? If you called up and said, it's filthy, and I said, what's filthy? Now, did you hear what she said? 6 inches.
I'm not exaggerating.
But no, she said 6 inches. She said manure. She said manure too. My horses were in the shed today. We all know how much they poop in those sheds. Somebody could go in there and say, wow, that's filthy. Okay? So, specific. There is 6 inches of black material. Okay, I see no signs of bedding. I see 6 inches of black liquid material. Specific. Think of a science project. Okay. There was a woman here earlier today, and I wish she'd come back because she was so frustrated. And it was, what do I do if people don't respond? Well, I always found I take pictures. And I don't go on people's property. But if I'm driving by and I see a situation, I take pictures. So then if law enforcement doesn't do anything, it becomes my word against theirs, and I'm just nobody. And if the humane agent says it, well, who is she? just somebody, and that's the humane agent, and they're trained. Well, here's my picture. And now, I've got that. And we've got the power of the internet. I mean, what I was able to do in 1996 when I went to New Holland was take pictures of what I saw and put it up on the internet so that when people didn't do anything, I was able to get people to, they saw it on the internet and they got angry and they, but it took a lot of work to do that. So, and that's not, I'll tell people, I can't promise you anything, There's times where, you try and you just can't get law enforcement to do anything. What do? You take it to the internet, take it to the media, and you can't give up. So, I don't know if any, wanted to go on to, I don't know how much time we have here, but I wanted to get into something about the issue of horse slaughter, okay? Because this is an issue that, I keep reading about, and it makes me so angry because it's so misrepresented, okay? Horse slaughter is about one thing: disposal. How are we going to kill America's horses? Are we going to kill them via lethal injection and dispose of them via cremation, landfill, burial, or are we going to butcher them to meet a foreign demand for horse meat? That's it. It's not about cruelty. It's not about neglect, because when it comes down to it, if for argument's sake we answered both sides of the question, okay, if it was humane, for argument's sake, people who are saying it's cruel and inhumane, if we made it humane, okay, if there was no problem, what are we going to do with them? I still have a problem with the fact that you're going to eat them. Because in the United States, the horse is a non-food animal. We don't eat them. So, the slaughter issue has turned into, we've had these animal welfare groups come in and decide they're going to fundraise off of it for the last 8 years, trying to pass legislation, and they're saying it's cruel, it's this, and then the pro-slaughter side is saying, what are we going to do with them? It's not about, we're going to put them down, and how are we going to do it? Slaughter is not about, people say, oh, if we end slaughter, people are going to start neglecting horses. I haven't gone on one cruelty investigation yet where the people, except for the Amish, has anybody ever wanted to sell that horse. They love it. And they will spend thousands of dollars to fight you in court, but they will not sell it. One person, they were so concerned, they had actually taken this horse to give it a good home. And they didn't really see it when this horse was starting to stretch out, and she had all this edema, and she had some type of abdominal cancer. When we came out there and gathered a humane agent, and they were just, they were upset that we were there, but they were like, they didn't see that she was in trouble. Now, I have to say the goats, when I walked up to, it was a bank barn, when I walked up and looked in the one doorway, the goats were looking right at me, because the manure was that high. But the horses weren't like that. The horses were, their conditions were okay. And they agreed to, when they found out, they were going to sign the horse over to the humane agent. And they came back out and they said, we were reading in the Wall Street Journal about horse slaughter and about how people will take, they'll lie to you about giving the horse a good home, and then they take it down to the slaughter auction. You're not, you are who you say you are, don't you? You have some kind of identification. They were concerned that we were going to take it and sell it for slaughter. When the vet came out, okay, because they agreed to let us get a vet, and the vet examined the horse, they were very upset. They didn't